Okay, thanks for being here. Hello, my name is Paul Lake, and I used to be the head coach, and then I was the teacher advisor for the Buchanan Bird Brains, Team 1671, and then I gave that up, and so they were trying to find a suitably pretentious title for me on the team, and so we thought of founding mentor. I've been with the team since we were founded in the fall of 2004. And have been associated with the team ever since. And it's really cool that you guys are here to hear about what we've done with our team. We're really proud of our team, and so here's what we're going to be doing. I'll just give you a brief history on how we started our booster club. We kind of stumbled into it accidentally, and then I'll talk about what our booster club does or has done, and how our booster club communicates and how they organize themselves, and then suggestions for how to get started if you're going to start a booster club for your team. And so how it began, well, our team really grew, and we were just a few, like a couple dozen kids, and we built low quality robots, and we had a good time, but our team steadily grew, and we started becoming more successful as a team. And now, we've got more than 60 to 80 kids on the team. And we used to just go to one regional a year, and now we go to off-season tournaments, we go to multiple regionals, and we go to world champs quite often. And so we need more money, and we need to feed these kids, especially during the build season and during competitions. And so in 2011, this girl right here, Kallie Carbajal, she joined our team as a freshman. Highly recommended. She eventually became a Dean's List winner at World Champs, and but her parents came along with the team, and while we were, building our robot in 2011, there was a team, 1422 local, and local team, really close to where we are. They lost their place to build their robot, and they're a sister school. They're Clovis West, so we're Buchanan High School. So we had this nice big new shop. And that we got to build our robot in, and we invited them to join us. And so we were building our robot, they were building their robot. And one thing we noticed is that, at a certain time in the evening, our kids would scatter to the wind to go out and get fast food. And they'd be gone for an hour, and different kids are going different places, and it was really inefficient and expensive and annoying. But Team 1422, much smaller team, they had these grandmas, these two grandmas that were literally coming in and with casseroles or whatever, really great food, and feeding their small team. And the Carbajal, Shelly and Enrique Carbajal, they noticed what was going on, and they said, well, we can do that with you guys. And so they started getting some parents together, and they started feeding our team during build season on Fridays and nights and Saturday nights. And that became a big deal. We became much more efficient. We weren't leaving for fast food. We were staying in the shop longer. And it was very communal. We're all together in my classroom. We're eating food. And it became a really great thing. And then they started coming to our competitions with us and arranging food for that. So I didn't have to do that anymore as the coach of the team. I didn't have to figure out how we're going to feed these kids and so on. And it just got, as the years went on, it got better and better. So I have to give them credit. They're the ones who got it started. And I do think that feeding the team is probably the highest priority that we have for the boosters during the build season, especially. Competitions, it's great. And they all come, and we are able to get food like and like you all do that. I've seen you out there, and you do the same thing. But I think during build season it's really critical because instead of, them going to Sonic or Panda or something like that, they'll actually, eat food that's healthier and it's more fun and we're all together and some of the parents are there, so the parents get more involved, and so they feed us. The boosters feed us. And it obviously is less expensive, right? Meals, home cooked meals are cheaper. And also it's a little safer because our kids are running around driving at night to, pizza places or whatever. And so this was a big plus. And here's some of our parents. This is a couple years ago. And I think that was, which night was this? Oh, I think this was grilled cheese night. So they had grilled cheese sandwiches and different kinds of tomato soup. So it's kind of fun. We have different themes. Like my personal favorite is breakfast for dinner. So we have pancakes and all kinds of great stuff like that. And it brings the team together. Then our boosters started getting into helping out with some of our outreach events. We put on an FLL scrimmage and we put on FLL competition and so on. And so some of our boosters will come and prepare meals for the volunteers. And also they, will run a snack bar and things like that. And again, during competition, I've already talked about this. They travel. Some of them travel with the team. We have 2 of them here. And so if you have any questions for them, they can answer. This is my wife, Ann, and she's quite experienced at the whole booster thing. So, and they're able to help out with that. And then, sometimes it's ordering pizza. I think tomorrow we're just getting pizza, and then sometimes, Costco muffins and snacks, and we get overloaded with snacks. I have so many parents donating snacks before we go on a competition that we bring half of it back, but it's fun. So that was then we've done a thing during build season because so many of the parents, they kind of miss their kids. And they want to know what their kids are doing. So we put on a potluck night, and that's when we want our boosters will bring all this food, and we invite all the parents. Not all the parents on the team are on our booster club, obviously. So and we invite we want all the parents and their siblings and extended family to come, and it's usually in the middle of the build season. Sometimes we don't really have anything to show off yet, but it's just a great team bonding experience and kind of builds our team community. And so they host the potluck and organize it. Then a few years ago, they started some things to raise money. And, we do, how expensive this, it's the only thing I don't like about FIRST is all the money we have to raise, to go to our competitions and pay registration fees and buy things. So they started brainstorming and what can we do to raise money for the team? And some of the things we've done is they've run snack bars. We hosted rummage sales, poker night. Oh my gosh, if you have a casino near you, casino, well, I'm going to talk about poker night in a little bit. Also, some of the parents, in the booster team, they get involved in soliciting local businesses and so on for donations for the team. They also create and collect silent auction items for different team special events. And for several years, we put on a big production. We call it the dinner dance. And we're kind of the leaders of the dinner dance, but we invite the other local teams in our area to be involved with the dinner dance. And it's been it's a lot of work for not that much money, so we're kind of rethinking about how we want to handle that, but it still was a function that our booster club was very much involved in. So here's 3 of our moms at the booster, and then, oh, that's Kelsey photobombing. And then, and then they put on a rummage sale, and we brought in $1,400 just collecting junk from all the different families on our team and selling them. And, it's amazing how every little bit helps. They were out there so early in the morning, it was still dark, and then they got it all set up and organized, and it was pretty successful. And then silent auction items. We have different events that we're a part of. Parent night. This is early in September. It's kind of a mandatory meeting of all the parents, especially for our new team members. That the parents have to come to parent night, and this is kind of where we lay out our whole season for them. But sometimes we sell items at parent night, try to raise a little money. There's a thing that the whole school puts on called the Bear Bash, and our group has become quite successful at collecting things for the silent auction, and our team has made significant amounts of money from it. During kickoff, we actually have a kickoff event, and where we invite community members to come in, and our kids watch the thing, and then we kind of separate that. But then the parents have a big kind of a kickoff celebration. Then we have an open house event. That's kind of our robot reveal. We usually do it the Sunday before Bag and Tag, and we have all our items there: hats, T-shirts, and all that. And we invite grandmas and aunts and uncles and as many people as we can get to come there, and they all buy things. And so the Booster Club kind of organizes that, and our kids help a lot too. But our kids work with the Booster Club to make that possible. And maybe we raise at the kickoff event, maybe we raise $600, and then at the open house, I think we brought in like $1,800, and our rummage sale $1,400, and all that. But you do all these little things, and pretty soon you're talking about, hey, we've just paid our registration fee for, both of our regionals, or hey, we're going to world champs, so now we need to pay for some scholarships for some of our kids can't afford the freight to go. And so they'll help with that. So it's been great. I really don't have an accounting of how much money exactly our Booster Club has brought in over the years, but it's in the tens of thousands of dollars. And it kind of goes up and down depending on the year and who's in our club and how much they want to do. This is probably one of the easiest fundraisers that we've done for our team. Poker night. If you find a casino near you, just a couple miles from my house is the 500 Club. It's a poker place. And of course, they want to make a good impression on the community. They want good public relations. And so if you approach them, they almost always will work with charitable organizations. Now, obviously, our students cannot be involved in poker night. So this is strictly run by the parents, and they do a great job. They go out and they collect prizes and, bottles of wine and, a big screen TV. We got donated for it, and those are the prizes. And it's a lot of fun. The only time I play poker is at poker night. I have to bring a little cheat sheet with me on what wins and lose. But this brings in about $2,000 or $3,000 a year for us, and it's you collect the prizes, you make a flyer, you send it out, and then it's not a lot of work. Like the dinner, this brings in almost as much money as our dinner dance, and it's 1/100th of the amount of work. So, and it's just something that only adults can do, right? The kids on the team can't work on that. So it's a good little fundraiser. And then one of the first things our Booster Club did with the money that they raised early on was we didn't have a trailer. And we just looked at with envy on all these fancy teams that had a trailer. And so the boosters were able to go out and buy us a brand new trailer. It was a little one. We have a bigger one now, but at the time we just thought it was awesome and made a big difference. We felt like we were one of the, wow, we got a trailer now. So so things like that, the Booster Club has done for our team. And now the way our Booster Club communicates with each other, they pretty much use Facebook. We've tried email, but email chains, when you're dealing with a big group of people, it just became very confusing. And so we have a private Facebook group for our Booster Club. And so we've encouraged parents who don't like Facebook, just create a dummy account and just use it for that. So some of them do that. But it's worked pretty well. One of the things I need to add on to this that we've just done in the last couple of years, we use Slack. You may have heard of Slack. Our team uses Slack a lot for communications within our team, but we're just now trying to get, the last year or two, we're trying to get the parents to use Slack. But I don't know. I mean, we're still kind of like, is this worth trying to do? Because every year we have new parents, and how do you use Slack, and how do I check it, and that it's a bit of an obstacle, but it's an option. I will say this: Sign Up Genius is great. We do have face-to-face meetings about during the off season. They meet about every 3-4 weeks. We have twice weekly team meetings during the off season. And then they'll come towards the end when they have to pick up their kids anyway. They'll have an hour-long meeting, and they'll talk about all the plans that are coming up. But we've tried to avoid email. This is a tool that we use. There's the Facebook page. This is something that we really love. The Sign Up Genius. And have you heard of Sign Up Genius? Okay, maybe you use it. So. But it's made a huge difference. It's really made it easy to sign up for things, and so it's a great way to organize your booster club. So go to signupgenius.com. It's free and it's really easy to use. And you just need to get it is somewhat email based because people are notified through email, but it's been very successful for us. And you go to signupgenius.com. Okay. And that's what the portal looks like for it. And so if you're a small team or a rebuilding team or something like that, and you don't have a booster club, what do you do? Like if you're a coach of a team, I would have a mandatory parent meeting and say, we're starting a booster club, and I would start off small. The nice thing about feeding the team is everybody understands that, people can manage it. And then as your team grows, and if you find some people who want to start doing some fundraising, you can do that. But we have I would set up an account. If you're gonna raise money, you're gonna need an account. Now we have a nonprofit account for our school. Called the Buchanan Foundation, Buchanan High School, the Buchanan Foundation. And under the auspices of the Buchanan Foundation, the different clubs and so on have accounts. And so we have an account under the Buchanan Foundation with the Buchanan Bird Brain Boosters is the name. And so we're able to raise money, deposit money there, and then use that money for different things the team is doing. If your school does not have a foundation, then I would really recommend you start a 501c3. And I don't really know how to do that because like I said, we already have one. But there are two pots of money that we use in a public school like ours. There's money that we collect from parents and so on to help pay for travel expenses and whatnot that has to go into a associated student body account. And that money is strictly supervised. I mean, you can't spend a dime without it being a pain in the neck. So as much as we can, but the foundation account, much more flexible. So we like putting as much money as we can into our foundation account, and we have more control over it. But you really want to have some kind of control. You will need a teacher at your school to kind of be the person. I was it. Now it's our new teacher advisor is in charge of that account. But he does a great job. Prepare some kind of social media. If you don't want to use Facebook, there's other kinds of social media. But you want to set up that account, and as I start small, you don't have to. Our booster club is kind of does this now. Some years they're really active, other years there's a little bit less, and so on. But we've kind of, they're really making a great contribution to our team, and I'm really excited this year because for us we have a huge group of new team members, and those kids have just been awesome. I mean, it's freshmen; they're doing great, and their parents are coming in and involved as well. And so, that's exciting. So just like with your team, you have years where you're a little stronger, a little weaker, whatever. That's going to happen. But start small, build experience, and it'll be great. Let's see. And I would like, it's a little late now, but if you haven't had a parent night yet, this is my classroom, and this was parent night a couple years ago. And, we kind of say, hey, if you want to be on the team, your parents need to come to this. And that's where we make the big pitch for our booster club. And one of our booster club members comes up and talks about it, and then recruits parents to be in the booster club. So have a parent night, a mandatory parent night, recruit parents from that meeting, and then that night schedule a follow-up meeting. We're going to have a meeting here, and then now we don't really have a formal process for choosing leadership in our booster club. It kind of happens organically. Sometimes that can be there can be a little drama, like anything else. But for the most part, it's been really easy. You have a parent who's just kind of naturally steps into a leadership position and does great things. Really haven't had any major conflicts with that. But if you, I don't know, maybe some of you have booster clubs and maybe you have a formal leadership structure for that, but we haven't done that, and at least in the last 7 years that we've had an active booster club, that really hasn't been necessary. But this is how I would get started, is start at a big meeting where all the parents have to be there, and then say, we need your support. And the football team has a booster club, and the band has a booster club. Well, let me tell you, robotics, at least at our school, we the money that's spent, the number of kids involved, the effort involved, it's very much equivalent to those kinds of activities. And so, and I think your parents will understand that. And this is the slide. We have at parent night we have a PowerPoint presentation, and this is just an example. That year, Denise Caranco was in charge of it, so she put up her phone number and talked about all these, of what's coming up. Anyway, I hope that, actually it's a fairly short presentation. Maybe that's a good thing, huh? But thanks for your attention. And also, one of the things that I like to do, this is like the third time I've given this presentation, is just to ask, you guys have some awesome teams out there, and I'd like to beg, borrow, and steal your ideas. So I actually have a slide here for, listing new ideas. Okay, so maybe we can, at the end, have a more informal discussion about how we can help our teams be successful. But we'll do that in a few minutes. I think they want us to do this feedback QRL thing where you talk about whether you thought this was a worthy presentation. I don't think it matters that much. I think they're pretty desperate to find people to present, so. So I'm pretty safe, no matter what you say, but, I wouldn't mind some feedback. So are there any questions or comments or suggestions? Yeah.
So what I see a lot of is you make it very frictionless for fundraising. It's just a sort of school sponsored team sponsored. I didn't see any sort of traditional fundraising campaigns. And so what we're interested in as a team is starting a booster club to actually eliminate the fundraising campaigns, because we've seen over the years that it gets very popular and then it dies down.
Now, what do you mean by a fundraising campaign?
So like GoFundMe or like a Facebook crowdfunding, and while it's worked before, sometimes the fees can go away from it, and other times it's just we don't. It feels very removed to have a donation without an actual person.
Well, have you heard of the acronym OPM? Other people's money. The thing that you want to try to do is do these things, put on these events, and the Booster Club's been good at this with fundraising anyway, is try to do things where you reach outside the usual pool of people, like the poker night and the other things like that, where you're not just asking the same people for donations all the time. One of the things we do, most of the kids on our team, their parents can afford to pay for travel expenses. So before we go to an event, we ask for a donation. What we do is we choose our travel team. And then once that travel team is based on, did you earn the right to go to competition? And we have certain requirements for that. And then we send out a letter to those kids that we've invited. And we tell the parents, we expect you, we're going to raise the money for parts and tools and materials and registration fees and all that kind of stuff. We would like you to pay for travel expenses. So you come to an event like this, and I think we usually ask for what did we ask? Like $125. Now, what that pays for is the hotel room. We have to pay for a bus driver and their hotel room. Also included in that is the money that we use to buy the food. Like, our boosters will run out to Costco, or they'll run out to Walmart or something, get those 6-foot-long sandwiches, or sometimes they'll actually. So I've had some boosters, they go crazy and they said, I'm bringing, and they bring all this food out here and they have a big barbecue, and they actually do a barbecue for the team. Kind of crazy. Well, they have expenses, and so they collect the receipts. The parent puts the receipts in an envelope and itemizes it all out. They give it to me, or now, thankfully, Andrew Austin instead of me, and then we reimburse them for it. And a part of the student fee is to pay for that, about $6 per day. So about $12 of the $125 is used to pay for food and help them with those expenses. Now, we do have kids, a few whose families are not able to pay, and the way we've always handled that is like, okay, we understand that. We're not going to let this affect your kid. What can you give us? So usually, like a parent that can't afford to pay $120, but they'll put in $30. I say, just give me a little something so that you got a little skin in the game. You're helping to contribute, and then the boosters quite often we'll use booster raised money to help pay for those kids who can't afford to go. themselves. Now, when that really hurts, and we really need help, is if we make it to world champs. Because, we take, traditionally we've taken 28 kids to worlds, and, if you get, and we're in Fresno, we're not close to any major airport. So unless we're willing to drive to the Bay Area or LA or something and take a bus and then catch a flight, we're paying, especially, I think, the last time we qualified, I think it was week 6 event or something, we qualified. It was crazy to get 28 flight tickets, to go. They just ream you. So that cost us, over, just for airline tickets was over $1,000 per kid. And so, and our community really, came together, and I had about 4 kids that needed, we call them scholarships, to go, because we've never left a kid. That's just our policy, and we just hope. We hope every year that we're going to be able to pay for all of the kids who've earned the right to go. And so, a lot of tears involved in that process. I tell you, it's really moving. But the boosters really make that kind of thing possible.
We come from a primarily agricultural county, so we actually have very little interest in STEM, just compared to the rest of California.
Yeah. Well, we're right there with you. We're in Fresno, so. What's that?
We've got 28 kids total. The scale of your team.
Let me tell you, it's a lot easier to take 14 kids to world champs than 20. I'm not saying that, having a small team has its advantages and disadvantages, obviously. Yes?
My team's relatively new, and one of our priorities has been to make the team, we have student run, student built.
Absolutely.
And, we're also discussing should we have a kind of booster or not, and one of the concerns is how does a student run team work if you have a booster group that has the potential of controlling, the money and all these other things. What is it a compatible model to have both?
I really appreciate you saying that, because we have the same philosophy on our team. Like, we want to be a student-run team, and however, there are certain things that students can't do because they're just not of age, like poker night, or the dinner dance. Those are just beyond what they do. So we really try to say, okay, the students are going to they have their kind of boundary of what we expect them to do. And we really make a conscious effort to not let adults encroach on that student, boundary of what they should be doing. And that's one of the things that, that I watch for as now a mentor on the team. But, technically we have that problem, right? We have had problems with engineers who love the engineering challenge so much that they forget this is a program for kids. So if you're engineering something on the robot and you don't have a kid there with you, you're blowing it. So one of the things, like with like some of the auction items, silent auction items and so on, I've had several kids work with the boosters hand in hand on gathering things and going door to door, and the kids are with them, but the adults are with them. And it was really a great partnership. They really worked together well. And remember that one of the things for FIRST, one of the things that's great about FIRST is you can have a student-run organization, but remember, you can also think of FIRST as an apprenticeship program where you have a kid working with an adult. So if you have something where you have an adult taking leadership, ask yourself, could a kid take leadership in that area? If your answer is, well, no, that's really an adult thing, let the adult do it, but try to grab a kid and say, kid, you're going to work with that adult on that so that they gain that experience, because that's what we're in. We're in the experience business for kids. So, yes.
Not to say a thunder, but as being part of 1671, we also have membership
Yeah.
I'm in
Well,
the
we're-
team. I'm not.
Well, yeah, you have the first acronym, FIRST. And so for a few years we said, well, let's have a PR team. And I go, okay, what is PR? Public relations. Okay, that's what tobacco companies do, right? They try to cover up their sins through good public relations. So we decided, well, we're going to call it the Inspiration and Recognition Team. And they're supposed to be there to inspire the community to support our team. They recognize achievement, and by thank you letters to sponsors and sponsor relations, and and then they also put together all our graphics and art. And then the ST team, the science technology team, they're in charge primarily of designing and building the robot and building our technical capacity as a team. And so it's useful. I like it when kids do both, especially freshmen. They have to find their way. But so a lot of the kids on the IR, we call it the IR team, will work with the boosters and on these various projects that we do. There's a few that are strictly adult, organized and run, but very few. But I think that's a great question, because that is a concern. Yes.
How much of the guidelines and kind of criteria you have written down? Like, for example, I would think that if maybe if you have a parent who's very involved in the boosters and raising money, then their child is probably very involved in the robotics. I could see where you could have, like, we're only taking this is our travel team, and like people who may have committed time to raising the money, and then their kids not on the travel team. I could just see potential conflict.
Well,
you have written guidelines to say, well, here's the guidelines.
You're talking about guidelines on how to make the travel team?
Or just guidelines in general, like, Booster Club wants to raise X amount of money, or like a team charter account, or the minimum contribution to be part of the team, or the scholarship. There's I don't know.
Well, one reason we're called the Bird Brains is because we wing it a lot. But so I don't think we really, we haven't really experienced a need to formalize things. It might help clear things up a little bit if we did, but like we're really, we always say, we have a really great leadership structure on our team. And actually, I should do a presentation on how we choose our leaders and how we train our leaders on our team, and to have that student-run leadership. And so our student leaders, both the IR side and the ST side, they choose our travel team, and they're, you got to. One of the things we have is a requirement for 60 shop hours during, at least for the regional competition, 60 shop hours.
Written down?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That part, we have some things written down,
okay.
But we don't have it all written down. It's not like in a formal document. But they have to put in 60 shop hours to qualify for, and shop hours, that includes the IR team. If they're working on computer graphics or building our chairman's binders and our chairman's applications, we have people that do that. Also, in addition to that, they have to have 15 hours of outreach hours. So we put on different events at elementary carnivals. We put on a FLL scrimmage and competition, and FTC competition and all that. And if you want to travel, you have to have 15 hours. And we've left some kids behind, and even kids where the parents are pretty involved. But we said, look, your kid didn't do what they needed to do. I know you raised a little money for the team, but if you want to take them, you can. I'll sign the paperwork. So, and I said, but, you have to earn your spot. And our rule for regionals is we'll take as many kids as can fit on a bus who've qualified. We get a school bus to go. And So, and I want to fill that school bus because the more kids on the bus, the easier it is to pay for that bus, right? The cost per kid is a lot lower. So,
And we have my son's in the second year, so it's like we're not there yet.
you're still in the, you're in the,
We got, like,
you're in the van stage. You get a couple of vans
Yeah,
and you got,
yeah.
yeah, oh,
But I'm just trying to think
Yeah.
forward,
right. Yeah, I mean, we have a system where the kids come in to the shop and they sign in. And then the system keeps track of their hours. So that we have a check-in and check-out system. So it's a big deal. If a kid checks in, but they forget to check out, they only get a half an hour credit. So they learn pretty quickly, oh, I better check out. And actually, if you email me, I can that check-in check-out system. It's a little rough, but we've shared it with other teams. Yeah. Oh, it does.
They got it third parties can develop for Slack, so we can purpose apps for Slack that integrate deeply with the Slack app. So we have things like we can check in and say I'm here and elaborate now, and it will spreadsheet and export it at the end of the month or time.
Oh, that's cool.
So kids don't cheat on that because of geofence. So you have to turn location services on and really say I am here. And if you're really spoofing your location, then programming team is going to find out anyways. So.
In all my years as being the coach and the teacher advisor, I've only kicked 3 kids off our team. And one of them was for inappropriate behavior let's leave it at that. And then, but the other 2 was cheating on our check-in and check-out. They were out playing tennis and they figured out what they remotely came in and they figured out what the password was to log into the system as an administrator, and they added hours. And we said, this kid has 320 shop hours and we never see them. And we finally figured out, oh yeah, they were out playing tennis, but they're accumulating hours. So they were bye-bye. So, and that was just white collar crime. Yeah. Yes.
For the system we have for logging in and logging out, so basically for the past year and a half or 2 years, we made a system where when you log in, just like you can use your own ID card, like school CSD, like for us CSD ID number, student ID. But to sign out, you have to go to your director. They have to put a password in for you to sign out, and they're gonna say, like they ask you, did you do your work? Did you clean up your area? So then they sign you out. If you said no, then they won't let you sign out. And like, if you don't sign out, you get like 30 minutes only throughout the whole time. Say you work like 4 hours, you only get 30 minutes. If you gotta sign out, it's 30 minutes.
Yeah. We need to enforce that better. The shop's kind of messy right now. Yeah.
I don't know if this is more feedback, but right now we have a parent group, and we have parents who mentor and coordinate a lot of food and things like that, but we don't have a boosters group. And so.
Well, that's exactly what happened. We had a group of parents that was helping to feed the team, and we said, hey, why don't we call it the Buchanan Bird Brain Boosters? And
my question is, what did you gain by, aside from the financial flexibility, what was gained by going through the process of making the booster group?
well, when we evolved from just like volunteer parents helping out to like becoming a formal booster club, it really happened. Thanks, guys. It really happened because some of them wanted to raise money. Someone said, hey, why don't we put on at your, I remember the first time we put on an FLL event, like our team put on an FLL event, was in the fall of 2011. Yeah. And we put on, we called it the Battle at the Nest, and it was this little, we had 16 FLL teams, and we just did it in this little building, and it was like a big production for us at the time. And one of the moms said, well, let's raise money and do that. And I said, well, okay, where are we going to put? So I talked to my learning director about, okay, what these parents want to raise money, what are we going to do? Well, you're going to need a foundation account for that. Well, we did. So I would say that there really wasn't much need for the official booster club until we started raising money. But, the other, so, maybe that answers your question. We had a small team. We had parents helping feed the kids, and as the team grew, the things they wanted to do, we had more parents. So the nice thing about a bigger team is you have more parents involved, and so you can take on different projects.
I asked because, I'm a teacher at my school.
Okay.
And so it's always frustrating. They don't have credit cards and stuff like that in the school. It's impossible to work in the school in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Do you have a foundation for your school?
There is a foundation for the school.
So like
we are part of the ASB umbrella right now.
Okay. We have two different accounts. We have an ASB account and we have a foundation account. And the foundation is like the way you want to go with the booster club.
We're just weighing pros and cons of the booster. And we fear some of the parents running away with the team, or giving more of the vision, power.
I really, unless they're in the shop and start directing your efforts, like how you build your robot or what kind of award applications you're going to do or what kind of outreach events you're going to do. Our kids, what are our kids doing? Our kids are building robots. They're doing, graphic arts. They're raising money. They're talking to sponsors. They're, preparing our award applications and all that kind of stuff. The parents aren't involved in any of that, really. They're involved in feeding the kids, helping them at competitions, helping raise a little money for the team so we can afford to go to these things like this, and then also, to offer scholarships for kids who have difficulty. And I don't see that as being a big conflict between what the kids should be doing and what parents could be doing.
How have you clearly communicated that vision to the parents?
Well, I'm not shy about. I've only had to do it like a handful of times, but I'll have a parent that will. Mainly, it's on the technical side, and I'll say, you're working on this thing and you're really excited, and I love the support. They said, but why are you at the lathe turning down this shaft? And there's no kid sitting next to you. Why are you doing that when I could have a kid doing that? And well, but we have. I said, you're not on the. Keep this in mind. Your role here is as a teacher. So you just have to be straightforward. If you observe it happening, you have to assertively say, I love what you're doing for our team, and I love your spirit. But we're here to give the kids experiences. If you're taking those experiences away from the kids, then you're really not helping. And I've had a couple of people leave, but that's the way it goes. Yeah.
I just want to add something to that because I'm new this year. New booster parent, that's a question on me. And I just feel like, because I can attest from the parent side coming into the boosters, they really just keep it completely separate. The meetings are completely separate from the kids, and I feel like there's really no connection to helping the kids. They ask for mentors, which is kind of a separate thing from the boosters. And I think that's maybe where the slippery slope might get when some of the mentors, over.
There is a difference between being a mentor and being a booster.
And I feel like we are just really providing, because they have a whole entire, the kids have their whole entire finance and fundraising that they do on their own. And I feel like the boosters really helps just kind of get access to the community that only girls can get through their connections, who work in different places like that. They can help find those places, and I kind of see it that way. I haven't seen any kind of, laugh there.
Mm-hmm.
So really separate.
And one of the reasons, well, we were talking earlier, but it pertains to what we've been discussing here. If if it becomes too formal and rigid, then a new parent who might have some great ideas, oh, I want to do this and this and this, they might say, oh, well, that doesn't really fit into the structure they have. I try to, we've tried on our team to kind of create a culture of yes, where if somebody, a kid or a parent or something comes in and has a really great idea for they're really excited about this idea for how to raise money or what to do for the team or how to do this. And we say, well, if it's not illegal, if it's not immoral, and if it's not too expensive, let's try it. And we've tried different things that haven't worked. One of the things that we really need is the dinner dance situation we had, because it's huge effort, and it raised some money and it was fun, but it's not, oh my gosh, we're exhausted, we're so burned out after the dinner dance, and you don't want to burn your people out. So yes.
So do parent booster funds go towards funding the mentors and the teachers' travel, or is that something?
Well, you can. I mean, I would love it if we had the ability to raise enough money so that our students don't. Thank you for coming. And if you want to walk out, don't feel awkward. You can leave at any time. I'm sorry. What was the question?
So does the booster fund the travel for the teachers and the
as far as travel goes, the booster money in our booster account has gone towards the travel for students whose parents have not been able to pay the full cost of travel and lodging. Now, the mentors, we have two categories. You have coaches and you have mentors. Coaches, if you're a coach on the team, you're expected. You get we have 3 coaching stipends that we get from our school. I have a head coaching position and 2 assistant coaches. They're expected to go. And so I don't feel like if it's their job to go, they should have to pay. Our mentors, though, we tell them, hey, you can make your own travel arrangements if you want, but you have to pay for, you have to pay to come to, for the hotel and so on.
So do they pay $125 as well?
If a mentor, no, because a mentor is not riding the bus, and a mentor usually makes their own arrangements for a hotel. If they're going to stay in a hotel, they pay for their hotel room. Yeah. Well, usually they just eat with the team, and we don't worry about it. It's not that big. That's not enough of an expense to worry about. There's 2 or 3 of them here, so yeah, that's just kind of.
How did you get mentors? How did you find mentors?
We have one of the when we started in those very, very, very early years. Yeah. Oh, and you know what? This is your second year. So you had 1 rookie year, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, your sophomore year as a team is the hardest year. It's the hardest. When you're rookies, everybody, oh, we're rookies, and they're excited, and they, there's all this hoopla, and it's not okay. Now you're sophomores, and you go, okay, it's really tough. It's really tough. Frankly, a lot of the mentors we got, technical mentors, we had to grow within. A lot of them graduated from high school, went to Fresno State, stayed local, and came back to mentor our team. And now one of them is now our head coach. He started as a freshman on the team, and now he's our head coach. And then we've had several go into engineering, and they come back and they mentor. So I would say the majority of our mentors are homegrown from the team. They just love the team so much they come back. But that doesn't help you when you're your second year. And so we didn't, if I could go back and talk to myself, in 2006 and save myself a lot of grief, I would go to ASME, American Society of Mechanical Engineers. If I don't know what town, what city are you? Are you close to technical companies and stuff like that? They might be able to help.
They work in a winery.
And yeah, Well, there's a lot of robots in a winery. Yeah, it's very technical. And, some of the mentors are parents who come in and, they've got some expertise. And luckily, if you're a young team and you haven't had time to build that out, the main thing you got to do, and I wish we'd learned our lesson after the second year. Our second year almost killed me. My wife can attest to it. I seriously almost had a nervous breakdown because we had spent so much money, and I didn't think we were going to have a robot to ship to the competition. That was back before the bag and tag days, and you had to ship your robot to the competition. Even regional, you had to ship it in a crate. And oh my God, it was awful. But keep it, you have your adults that help. Keep it simple. Just build the simplest possible robot. I mean, what's the name of your team? This is Crystal, by the way. She's a former student of mine, and now she's a high school physics teacher, just like me. So, and so what's that?
You asked the name of your team?
Yeah.
Electronic Eagles?
Okay. So they built, I don't want you to check their robot out because it's a rookie robot, but so simple, and yet it works. So one of the things, if you don't have a lot of mentors, say, you got to really analyze the game and say, okay, what can we do? What can we build to play within your game, and have fun, and then. But I don't have we haven't put any ads out. Plus, when I get a mentor, we have to get them fingerprinted and do all this youth protection stuff, and it's a pain. But it's been kind of serendipitous for us to get mentors. And some of them haven't been, we think, oh, this guy's this great engineer and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, it's not working out. So it's hard. That is a hard thing. But I do think that as you build your team, I know, the kids come back and, if you make sure your team is fun to be on. I think that's really the most important thing for team success is have fun with the kids. And then the kids will want to come back. And so in 3 or 4 years, you'll have some of those kids, they don't want to leave. I have kids, it's so great. At the end of the year, some of the kids that are really involved, they're like, I don't want to graduate from high school, because they like being on the team so much, and they feel like they're losing like part of their, their, I don't want to say family, but their community. They're part of this community. And I said, come back. You can come back. Like my son just graduated last year, and now he's coming back and he's mentoring and he's having a blast. He was director of strategy last year, so he's teaching the new strategy guy, and now he's a scorekeeper and all that. But I would say those seniors, keep them in, and I would say keep your technical ambitions within your game of what your mentors can do, and then keep your team fun, and then try to bring those in. And look, the first 5 years that our team existed, we were not our robots were pretty marginal. Most of the time we didn't get picked to be on an alliance for the elimination matches and stuff. But we just kept our spirit up. We kept happy. I think one of the first awards we ever won was a Spirit Award because we were just yelling and screaming. So it seemed like the worse our robot was, the better our team spirit was, because now when we go to a competition, our team is very much involved in volunteering at the competitions that are being put on. And so we have kids on the field, and we have a big scouting group now, so they can't choose. So our team is so fragmented at a competition now that we don't have that cohesive cheering section that we used to have. But anyway, keep it fun. I'll tell you what, the first 5 years or 6 years of our team, we were the Buchanan robotics team, BRT. And then it's a long story. We had a kid on our team who really got into animation, and he made this fantastic animation called A Little Bird Told Me. And there used to be an animation competition at first. I think they're starting it up again now. Well, that was the first major award our team ever won, was winning at world champ level. We won the animation in 2010. You should look it up. It's called A Little Bird Told Me. If you look up first animation, A Little Bird Told Me 2010 or whatever, you'll find it. It's like Pixar quality. It's just amazing. It is amazing what kids can do. I'm always flabbergasted that they can fix things and they can build things and design things if you just let them do it. But it was just this amazing thing. And we said, these little birds, we have to brand our team with these little birds. And so we came up with this logo and we renamed our team the Bird Brains. We doubled in size. And the only thing I could say is these little birds. It made it, oh, that's fun. That looks like fun. And I don't know what this means. And I don't want to get political or anything. But when we became the Bird Brains with these, the number of girls on our team, well, we went from having like 10% of our team were girls to now it's almost 50%, like 40 to 45% girls on our team. So finding I don't know if that answers your question, but it's weird how things change like that and make a difference like that. I'll talk all night if you guys keep asking me questions. So if thanks, Crystal. See you. So, all right. Oh yeah. We lost the signal. It's Paul Lake, PaulLake, all one word, at CUSD.com, ClovisUnifiedSchoolDistrict.com. Thanks for coming. Hope it was worthwhile.
You guys usually cleanse your meals before you go somewhere, so you're going to kitchen, you have it all mapped out, somebody takes care of that, or you get there and then you figure out the lunches and breakfast, or both?
We've done both. Like when we went to St. Louis one year, and we had somebody who knew a lot about St. Louis, and so she made arrangements for us to eat as a team at this pizza place, for St. Louis pizza, thin crust or whatever they have, and it was really fun. And then other times, we're so busy and we're trying to figure out that we just find different restaurants and we have different parents going, So it kind of, a lot of what your booster club is going to do depends on what kind of parents you have on your booster club. So, if I got a new one who's got a lot of great new ideas, well, we're going to have a great, 4 years. And then, then when their kids graduate, obviously they leave the team and so things change, and things have changed a lot since we started our booster club in 2011. And but change is good sometimes.
The kids do fundraising separate from the boosters?
Yeah, well, they're mainly involved in, we do we have kids do grant writing. And we have kids call some of the major businesses in our area and ask for donations. And then they have to write thank you letters and make thank you plaques and deliver them and give presentations to our sponsors. And that's, that's a very important, it's so funny. We train them how to do cold calls. Cold calling doesn't work that well. We haven't really raised a lot of money with cold calling, but we train them how to do that. Also, we have a farmer's market in Clovis, and we show the robot off at farmer's market, and they hand out, they have prepared brochures, and we have a graphic arts department on our team. Now, obviously, if you're a young, small team, you can't do all those things, but you don't need to because you're small. So, pick a few things that you can do those, but keep it fun, keep it going, and it'll snowball. And I don't know, how big is your school? I mean, was it like it's a fairly medium-sized high school. Yeah, we're pretty big. We're like 2,700 kids. So, So it's, I mean, it's easier to have a big team when you have a big student body. So, but you can, so pick some.
We were looking at a car, and he's talking to the guy at the dealership. Yeah, I'm supposed to survive. Oh, that's kind of cool. We have money that we get to the community. We just want to have communication. But he gives his card, he gives that to the kids.
And the kids contact them.
Say, we like to make communication. And so, they need, he does that. But not everybody, I wouldn't do it anyway. He does it everywhere. And, those little things in like the farmer's market, it's really visible. And people start to see this is a thing. And honestly, it's really fun to do it. Like the, they want to do it. They really want an adult league, I think.
What's that?
Some of the mentors, they want an adult league of first, so they can build their own robots.
Oh,
that
no.
way and not have to do it for them.
Well, you know them.
Yes, I
They will remain nameless, but we had some mentors who got a little disgruntled, and there was a lot of drama, and they left our team and went to start another team. And lo and behold, they had the same problems with this new team. So now they've kind of left, and they're going to start a BattleBots team on their own. And you know what? Great. That's good for them. That is an adult robot league. There's things you can, if you're a grown up and you want to play games, there's ways to do that. But
The one thing that, there was, after their first year, they did, the robotics team did a summer camp for younger kids and raise, and raise money that way.
we tried to do that this summer. We got off to a late start. We thought we'll do a what do you call them? The quadcopters. We'll put on a quadcopter camp. The problem is